Okay, thank you very much for joining and welcome to the third session of the training that the UTM organizes with the DUT partnership on sustainable building and positive energy district. Today is the third session. We will focus on policy regulation and social sustainability related to the building sector and the positive energy district actions. And we will hear from a colleague from the DUT partnership, Christoph Gorner, as well as Enza Lisandrello, who is an associate professor in mobility planning and governance at the Aalborg University in Denmark. And she has been engaged in the cost action PED EU net and also has worked in several PED projects. So we're really happy to hear from you. And then we will deep dive in the experience of the city of Porto Alegre, who has joined the UTM at the very beginning of our journey. And we'll hear from Rovana Reale Bortolini, Director of Projects and Sustainability Policies in the city, about their programs, how they help the activities in this area with sustainable certification programs for buildings and the urban terrarium project. So we're really, I'm really looking forward to that. And then, as usual, we will have a discussion time. You see in the agenda, there is already some questions that may trigger your thoughts to already think and engage in the discussion, but you're always welcome to already drop questions and thoughts during the session in the chat. I will be your voice if you don't want to speak loud. Yes. I would say, so we are recording the session, so always happy to see your faces unless you're uncomfortable to be on video while recording. And that's it. I would give the floor to my colleague Christoph, who will give an overview of the DUT and a bit of the scope of the session. Christoph, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Miriam. I hope you can see my my screen.
Yes, we do.
Hello, also from my side. Welcome, and happy to see some familiar faces already in this third sessions on positive energy districts, and also happy to see new faces. My name is Christoph Gollner. I'm coordinating the Positive Energy Districts Transition Pathway of the DUT partnership, and I will just give you a short introduction on the DUT partnership and what we're doing on one hand, and on why we are talking about positive energy districts and why, in particular, in these sessions we are talking about social sustainability and policy regulations. So let me go through that. Okay, here we are. The DUT partnership, it's a European partnership. Most of you or some of you have already seen these slides. It's a public-public partnership by more than 28 countries, pooling resources for supporting research and innovation activities for urban transition, urban transformation processes, with annual calls. On one hand, so yearly calls, research and innovation calls in 3 thematic areas, what we call transition pathways, in circular urban economies, in the 15-minute city, and in positive energy districts. And we are talking about the positive energy districts here in this training session. But apart from the annual research and innovation calls, we have a broad portfolio of activities together with the Urban Transitions Mission as well. So this webinar series, this is not directly connected with our calls, although I give you a short information on that if you're interested in the future. But it's really part of our ambitions to build capacities among cities and urban stakeholders, and to engage them in the processes, in potential solutions, in mainstreaming solutions for performing the urban transformation processes that are needed towards net zero, climate neutrality, etc. You name it. If you want to learn more about the Driving Urban Transitions Partnership, please have a look at our roadmap. The links are in the presentations and the slides you will receive after the meeting. On this webinar series, on these training sessions, what is a positive energy district? In the European context, it has been discussed for around 10 years now. It's a kind of still in development, the concept, but it's seen as a key tool or potential tool for in the first place performing the energy transition in the urban context, but also contributing to climate neutral cities, to a climate neutral environment by reducing the greenhouse gas emissions to a minimum. And positive energy districts play in that sense an important role, as they are a tool for decentralizing the energy system. With that, with local solutions on energy generation, energy efficiency, energy flexibility, and with that raise and improve on one hand the resilience of the energy system, and on the other hand provide lower energy prices for end users, and with that supporting or helping to avoid energy poverty. A very short definition of positive energy districts you can see here. PEDs are energy efficient and energy flexible urban areas that produce local renewable energy, achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions, and play an active role in the energy system for achieving overall climate neutrality. There are a lot of different aspects to the whole concept, and what we're also trying to do together with US cities to develop an attractive narrative for the cities to implement these measures, but also for the end users, the residents that live in the cities and have a specific role in this concept. I've mentioned that energy production, efficiency, and flexibility at the core of the concept to improve and optimize these energy functions. There are several elements. The key question for us is how do we integrate the technological solutions into the urban system? So with that, always there are kind of additional questions apart from the technological solutions. It's governance questions, it's cultural questions, it's questions of how to involve residents and users. It's social questions, and that is the focus of today. But at its core, the key areas of positive energy districts are a high share of locally generated urban renewable energy, community building, energy communities for local energy sharing and trading, energy storage. Storage is one of the key questions. Energy efficiency measures, as I've said before. The whole question of interconnecting buildings and infrastructures with energy flows between them, and the integration in the overall energy system. We're today at session 3. 2 sessions we had already since the beginning of January, so it's a 2 weeks rhythm of these sessions. The first one, a very generic question on why do we need positive energy districts. The second session 2 weeks ago on technologies, and the third session today is on social sustainability and policy regulation aspects. Why is this important? I somehow mentioned it. The PED concept is a holistic concept, or we position it as a holistic concept for the urban energy transition, and social sustainability in all activities that address residents, people, is a key factor for the success of these concepts. And we try to frame the main elements and the main questions that we will need to address in the concept to provide long-term social sustainability. What that is and how exactly we frame that, Ensa will give some thoughts and examples for that. So the questions, the guiding questions you see here: how can PEDs support community building and neighborhood regeneration? How can PEDs help fighting energy poverty? And what policy regulations and strategies need to be in place to facilitate that implementation and ensure just transition processes? And just to give an outlook, there are 2 more sessions coming up in the next 4 weeks, one on circularity and materials and one on financing. With that, thank you very much. I'm handing over to Ensa to give much more detailed insights in why social aspects are so important for PED development. Thank you.
Thank you, Christoph. I take immediately the word because then I can share my presentation and see if, can you see it?
Yes.
Yes, perfect. Then I will go into these quite tricky and complicated questions. My name, as Miriam nicely introduced me, is Enza Di Sandrello, and I work as an associate professor at Aalborg University in Denmark. As my involvement with PEDs work, one key aspect is about social sustainability, and I will go a bit into that. So this is a bit the preview of my presentation today. So I will intro a little bit. I know that we are all know about what social sustainability is and what has been developed around this, but I will go a little bit an intro into what it is, because then we are all in the same page, more or less. And then how this social sustainability is important in the context of urban energy transition, and then what strategies to apply these concepts. So, and especially bringing examples from DUT projects, especially in relation to the PEDs development, maybe can give some insights here to us. And then concluding with something about the challenges, success factors that we can see emerging now, and also some ideas about policy regulations, or at least what is the tricky part of the policy regulations to place and ensure social sustainability when we link together aspects so tricky as the energy and the urban context. So sustainable development has been discussed from 1981 about this concept. Someone says is a social concept, but let's say is a concept that includes the fact that every type of development that we are doing, when we meet the need of the present, but without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs, is something that's sustainable, is a more sustainable development. And of course, we have this tradition of considering sustainable development around these 3 pillars: environmental sustainability, economic and social. The environmental sustainability, I would say there is a lot of research about this. We have the environment assessment. We have a lot of regulation about sustainability, environmental sustainability in a lot of countries. Economic sustainability is very contested terminology. We have this idea of grow and post-grow that is actually a link to some new innovative ideas about the economic sustainability. We have the circular economy. We have new models of developing economic model that are more sustainable. But we have also a third one, that is the social sustainability. Is less investigated, is more tricky, more difficult to grasp. Metrics to arrive to define what is socially sustainable are really difficult to go into that. But we are moving further in this specific idea of social sustainability. And some of the most tricky discussions now is that is about all these positive intentions that we are looking at in the social sphere. So how actually social sustainability impacts with the positive intention everything that regarding the social sphere. And I put this photo in which you say share more, consume less is a nice branding, but is very difficult to get because then it clashes with a lot of cultural and social dimensions in which maybe we don't want to share or we don't want to consume less, and every individual is not really able to cope with these ideas of sharing and consuming that maybe is actually very much contextualized in different contexts as well. So we cannot just make it ourselves to share more and consume less to become more socially sustainable. Good thing is that, of course, there is a lot of confusion of the different interpretations of what we mean of that, but many times is also these interpretations that give a lot of insights about what is the intention of the actors involved, the political, geographical, and economic context that actually interfere in which way we understand social sustainability. And we talk nowadays about sustainability is a large to really get the idea that there are multiple ways to go with sustainability and with social sustainability, especially. Broadly, we have an idea that social sustainability is about inclusion, well-being, equal access to resources. We have an update discussion about the social justice. I will go in a few slides into that. But how we create really more sustainable, inclusive community in which people can participate with have the opportunity to have available resources in both the social but also financial and political context, and also in which we have the voices of marginalized groups that eventually are included in these processes of engagement, empowerment, and participatory governance that actually are useful for our cities and the urban context to be part of. So concepts that we have developed in the context of urban energy transitions are many. I just put this because in our UN goals about sustainable cities and communities, we have a bold issues about inclusive and sustainable urbanization that is really derived from this idea of social sustainability, inclusive, sustainable urbanization, and the capacity for participatory, integrated urban settlement planning and management in all countries, and well combined with the idea that goes a little bit outside the technical sphere of affordable and energy, the clean energy issue, to take the values of the universal access to modern energy. So combine that, give a bit a clue about what we are trying to look when we look at the positive energy districts, because this is really to put in relations two very important issues, that is the energy transition. So there's a significant system change that will bring some sustainable and efficient partners of energy provision with cities that are the main target of energy consumption, but also a kind of tool for urban energy transition. So examples in PED transition pathways and projects have been also, here we have an example from the PEP project in which there is this effort of bringing the new materiality, the new ideal cities, in bringing the energy transition into focus point of how we rebuild buildings and space and have a no social impact in the new ideals future cities, in the planning and the physical transformation of places. Energy transitions in PED is therefore related to urban processes, to urban practice and urban change, and also as a way of contextualize the evolving connectivity between these two spheres that are very important for our contemporary, but also in the future city. So here, for example, there is another ideas developed from the PEP project about the Malmö station area, in which there is this idea of empowering people through the knowledge and collaboration that we create with the positive energy, positive arena and area. So bringing together arenas of actors and teams to build more positive idea, not just in the energy balance, but also in the impact of the urban context. So what we learn is that we need the urban and the energy context are very complex, is constituted by social spatial relationship. There are many social technical possibilities that are upcoming to address some of the social challenges. Power is also an important aspect of who is actually take a part of these processes of participation, for whom these processes are carried on and with whom, and that many times these futures are also more path contingent, not completely path dependent, in the sense that more the specific experience of how applied to context are more important than to stick to too much general rules. And also as planners, policymakers, we have also to think about our own position in bringing this critical knowledge, and in which way we take our stance in the social justice work. So positive impacts, as Christoph said, is about technicality, policy efficiency, but is also a potential for social justice, for inspiring to have a more procedural justice. So from the proceeding in which decision making are really placed, we fairly incorporate urban areas, neighborhoods that maybe are also not the usual suspects we see in the different public hearings. A distributive justice, because we have to think about how we develop equity and energy access in urban systems. And there is also restorative and interactive justice, because maybe we could have the chance, the opportunity to repair past or ongoing harm caused by energy systems, and also make fair decisions for the urban context to cope with a more social and energy justice dimension. So in PEDs, energy is a process of urban transformation as well, as being used in several projects to, improve, make a better living environment, and develop also local energy production, for example, with the sunlight, more greenery, and also develop some kind of more mobility, active mobility, and in areas So how to connect all the different systems in urban areas. We see more and more an attention towards what is the social dimension of this. So identify existing values, what is the real need of local citizens, the knowledge that we can develop in energy consumption, production, but also in the impact of this urban transformation that we envision when we place the positive energy districts in the urban context. Citizens can also be understood more and more as an ambassadors of the urban energy transition. Here you see an example activating in Bari in Italy through the schools, in which the children gave an input about what is the real consumptions, what they can do about the energy dimension in their own urban and life context, but also developing more and more mobilization capacities in different contexts. We talk about the cultural dimension, so where the people are bringing their own ideas and habits to bring the community together, to form the community of practice that will develop around energy and urban together. Here we see another example of stakeholders' involvement that is an issue that is a key in PEDs development. Here we see the Ghent administration as like a public administration of the city, bringing together maybe different sectors. So urban renewal, climate and energy, neighborhood managers. Maybe we have also more cross-sectoral inputs and policies that come together there, and also the neighborhood actors, so the social organization, different type of agencies, neighborhood centers, maybe hospitals, and inhabitants. Is always nice to involve them quite in time, to have some that actually participate in some of the initiatives, and also bringing this idea of the everyday energy practice in the urban context. So it's not one-to-one transformation. Sometimes is not the incredible big transformation that make a difference, but how the difference is perceived in the everyday practice. So how issues about engaging, meeting, learning, working together, caring about, maybe repairing, is really nurturing this idea of working with in the social context with the needs for a different way of energy practice and how people can see a real benefit of it. And of course, also urban living labs. That means enhancing social innovation when, for example, activating new energy experiences in neighborhood. Here we see another example from a Belgian case, from the Dutch case, the Botu in Rotterdam. So the house of the future, in which the inhabitants can experience the practice a fossil-free future through collective cooking, taxi lab, sharing cultural practice. This is also how the energy can be not just something outside the social context, perceived as really far away, as just the button that I use every time to use my energy, but also how it involves the social everyday practice of people. So linking energy and urban processes is also about linking to the social justice, and in particular context, especially when we tackle more social housing areas or more disadvantaged areas, urban areas, and maybe is especially where some kind of building transformation is the most needed, and maybe is also where PED can also succeed the most, but in which we have to run with different dimensions of the social and energy justice. Why social sustainability is important in the context of urban energy transition, not just because we need people to legitimize all the time, because we have our public hearings, because it's about social acceptability that we have to consider, but because energy can also serve as a driving force for urban change, and in which the social is also a potential for driving, really catalyze the attention, being the one that make the change happening. So we need to consider that energy transition as also this power transformative change, and there is an issue of perpetuating the dominance of existing elites, or make really citizens as stakeholders play a role, a key role in the urban energy transition as well. What strategies to apply for this concept? I put the ladder here. Of course, participation, one will say, and of course, we have a lot of testing of collaboration and participation between different types of stakeholders, more bottom-up processes, but also in which urban experiments, for example, bringing stakeholders that are not just the grassroots, the group of citizens, the energy communities, but different type of stakeholders to experience what the change means in practice, and what type of rules need to change, and which type of perspective can be supportive to these transition processes. Challenges, we are challenges on the energy transition, energy dependence, we'll all know can create serious problems in our local context and in the global context with economy, society, the environment. Cities can support more decentralized energy system, but also really think about how this will impact the urban communities and make them stronger, more resilient, even if we have a different type of geopolitical differences across the EU and globally, also with different type of access to finance, to trade, to supply chain. There is also the critical issues of the community's everyday concern. So how energy poverty maybe is understood itself in different contexts, in a different ways. Someone says we are all energy power, but we have to consider what people conceive and their own ability to cope with the everyday issues about the urban energy services. Challenges, bringing these energy communities and bringing the communities, bringing the urban setting, it's not always a factor that for sure succeed. We know about how difficult it is, the issues of the energy communities, for example, in local context. But of course, it's also important to identify what hinders and what facilitates the development of PEDs. And sometimes, as before I said, social housing and low-income areas bring this idea of having more social justice into place, and also more socially sustainable renovation areas. But of course, we have to cope with issues of distrust in these areas. Poverty means maybe not enough people energy to cope with different type of embarking in some kind of different ideas, different practice, collaboration, participation, cultural barriers, and social stigma that sometimes is also matters in some particular places. So to finish my presentation here, to launch these discussions, is about the policy regulation. Here, I didn't put precisely what is a policy regulation that should be placed actually, but of course it matters that cities are in network and an active role in this multi-level governance, climate governance they have to bring about. There is the need to really bring the local autonomy and the community resilience for reducing carbon emissions. And sometimes across the EU countries, there are different conditions for creating more flexible and decentralized energy system that do not depend only by the urban context and the fact that the producing and share green energies among people and communities is not always possible, and sometimes the shadow of national levels and the political support is also needed there. So conclusion, PEDs are co-creating processes that can trigger more social processes, activating more social justice, activating more social sustainability. It depends from the engagement of the communities in the urban energy transitions to feed their own experience, to generate new possibilities for action, and that is this inclusive participation and the active citizenship for the energy transition is really in need to create the mobilization for policy regulations to be adapted. Thank you so much.
Couldn't find my unmute button, sorry. Thank you very much. And that was really interesting, and I took a lot of notes about inspiration on energy as a process for urban transition, or things that I think, I mean, you gave me the word to say that really nice, because it's all these things that we say, but not with the right word sometimes. So really interesting, and thank you very much. I give the floor now to Rovana. We jump to Brazil. And Rovana, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Thank you,
you,
Miriam, for the invitation. And it's an honor to be here with you today. I think I'm going to share the presentation. Okay.
Yeah, please.
Are you seeing?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
And in the meantime, a call for everyone. If you have questions for Enza or now for Rovana while she speaks, drop them in the chat, and then we can start the discussion with some Q&A, so to say, and then deep dive in the discussion. I'll see that, Rovana.
Okay.
Yeah,
let's
thank
start.
you.
So I am Rovana, an architect and director of projects and sustainability policies here in Porto Alegre, Brazil. And I will present some sustainable projects we are implementing in the city. So I'm here in Porto Alegre, and Porto Alegre is the capital of Rio Grande do Sul, Brazil, and has 1.4 million inhabitants. So I will talk about two programs we created for the city. They are unique initiatives developed locally, and today they serve as a case of innovation and sustainability. So the first one is this Environmental Sustainability Award and Certification Program. It's a sustainability for buildings. So the program was established by a municipal decree, and buildings receive urban planning or tax incentives. Here we work with incentives. We think it's more, it's easier to the buildings to be there. Okay, here in the case of urban incentives, the city grants up to 20% increase in building height, while for tax benefits, we offer up to 10% discount on property tax. So it has a validity of 3 years, and it's renewable and upon request. So the program's goal is to recognize buildings that incorporate sustainable measures in their construction. We have 4 certificates, and it will be granted according to the following modalities and requirements. For example, for the diamond certification, the building needs a minimum score in 5 dimensions, gold in 4 dimensions, and so far. So here, so the buildings or the activity must adopt sustainability actions and practices corresponding to 7 dimensions. For example, conservation of local biodiversity, adaptation to climate conditions, water, energy and greenhouse gas emissions, waste, materials, and accessibility, mobility, and humanization of buildings and urban spaces. So here is an example. It's an online program that the people can enter and put all the projects. So here are the premises by dimension. And for example, for the first one, we have conservation of local biodiversity. We have here planting native trees, preservation of native trees measured to prevent bird collision with glass. And the second, adaptation to climate conditions. The goal here is to reduce the urban heat island, for example, roofing materials with high solar reflectance, green roof, green wall. In the dimension of water, the goal is we aim to do a more efficient use of water. So like here, gray water we use, sewage water we use, rainwater harvesting. Okay, the next one, energy and greenhouse gas emission, for example. We have efficient artificial lighting. So if the building has 100% of LED lighting, the building can score some points. Renewable energy, on-site renewable energy generation, more points. And so here the last ones, we are talking here about waste. When the construction do all the information on waste management in the building, for example, or organic waste composting, and about materials, the construction have to be certified, all the materials, or has to need to have low emission materials, regional materials, recyclable materials. And the last one, accessibility, mobility, and humanization of buildings. The building has to be next to some public transportation, bicycle parking, need to have parking space with electrical vehicle supply equipment. We have these 43 premises that need to be scored, so then the building will receive the certificate. So to date, we have certificate 163 developments in 2 years, and most in diamond category, as many projects are still under construction and could adapt, and also because they seek the urban incentive of the height of the building. These are the 10 most adopted sustainability premises, like the LED lighting, planting of native trees, the bicycle racks. So here are the big score. And with all these premises, we can analyze here in the City Hall what of them we should invest more or readapt so people can score more points in these premises. We have this sustainable property tax. It's a law. This law, this law is submitted to the legislative chamber yet. So the goal is to give this 10% discount on the buildings when they are sustainable with the certificate. And now I will explain about the urban terrariums. It's a sustainability for urban public areas. So here the city allows commercial use of underutilized public spaces, provided that sustainable measures are implemented. So for example, all these spaces need to have renewable energy or heat island reduction, drainage alternatives, ecological materials, and a lot of premises to be considered sustainable and to have to receive this authorization to put the commercial building in these public areas. So here in the city, we have several vacant lots. So they are offered to business for commercial use, such as small foods, for example, and the fees are collected and allocated to vulnerable areas. For example, we take this fee and we buy biodigesters to put in public schools, for example. It's one use of these fees. And the selection criteria is the best project and the highest fee offer in this bid. And this space must be open for public use all the time. And it has to be sustainable during 10 years. So here is the first urban terrarium. It was the pilot project. So through bidding, the bidder, this small shop of açaí, was the winner of this project. And here's the picture of before the use. It was irregular parking, and we implemented this terrarium. It's in the middle of the city. It's very green. It's very nice. People really enjoy it. The second bid was this Garibaldi terrarium. It's in another very dense area. It was an empty public space before, as you can see here in the picture. And now we have this very sustainable space. It's a small shop for the community. And this community is very dense. People didn't have space to sit, for example. And now there are a lot of benches and a small shop and trees. It's very nice. And the third terrarium is now, it will be open in a few weeks, I think. And it was an irregular parking as well, as you can see. And here in City Hall, we do all the projects just to show how can be applied this commercial use, but they are free to present another project. So the bidding was, the winner of this bidding was this another company, Allegro. And here we will have in Porto Alegre the first solar tree in the city that they are implementing in this terrarium. This project had this recognition in 2022 and won the first place in the Ministry of the Environment of the federal government in innovation in public management category. And so now we are confident that all these two initiatives that I presented have actually contributed to the sustainable development of the city. And we are always looking for more improvements for our territory. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravana. Really interesting and super nice, the change before, after. It's very beautiful. I have a follow-up question. So you also give some incentive to the urban terrarium in sense of discounts or support, financial support, or anything that, or it's always on the initiative of the private that owns or that
for the urban terrarium, we don't charge the rent of the space. So for 10 years. They don't need to pay this rent, because when we have public spaces, people need to rent and it's very expensive.
Nice, yeah. I would open the floor to other questions on top of mine.
Can I have a question? For Rosanna. For Ravana.
Yes,
Sorry.
Insa. And then we'll go to and Insa first, then Axinia next.
Sorry. I just was watching the button to hang my. I had a question about, yeah, I saw that you transformed very nicely some of the public spaces, removing the parking. There have been any conflicts about this, removing parking places? So do you have any
Yes,
ideas
we have.
how to go
We
around
have.
that?
Yes, we had. We needed to do a lot of conversations with the neighborhood, but they were irregular, so they had to accept that. But yes, we show all the projects, all the benefits for the community. And okay, the worst problem was in this third terrarium because the parking lot was very big, but it's all nice now. They are all very happy.
Yeah, and they can see the benefit now, you think, about this transformation, like the community of benefit about this. There is awareness about this.
Yes, because they put a lot of native trees, and the spaces was very, I don't know in English, arid, maybe. No trees there, so now it's very green, and it has a small shop for food and everything. So I think all the community can walk few steps until a small shop. And they can see it. It's like a pocket park, there are a lot of space for people to engage and stay there.
Very nice. Seems welcoming. All the places that you showed were really welcoming. Axinia, over to you.
Yes, so thank you so much. The presentations were really very nice. Thank you very much. And I also have a question to Ravana, please, if I may ask. So who can really participate in these programs? So is it only for the private business, or is it for like any residents who would like to make up a project and just participate in all this process? Or is it like for some exact criteria? So are there any exact criteria for the participants, or like basically anyone can participate in these all programs? This is the first question. And the second question, like, how do they normally find the areas? So are they obliged to take, for example, the most remote or the most unused and abandoned area? Or like, how do they find the space? Because all this space basically belongs to the state, I suppose. So it's publicly owned, and how they can understand that they can really occupy the space in principle.
Okay, all the spaces are mapped here in the city hall. We know what spaces are free to use. So we usually choose spaces that it's good for the commercial use, because it's not cheap to maintain it for 10 years. So that's why people usually put some commerce there, so the revenue you can use in this maintenance. But yes, any people can participate of this bid. It's a bid. So, but you have to just maintain this space for 10 years. So that's why maybe usually just normal people don't apply to this bidding, this bid, because they don't have this money. But maybe if more people make a group, for example, and have the money to do that, yes, it's allowed. And the first one, the question?
It's okay. You have already answered both.
Okay.
Yes, so thank you so much. Okay, and how often does it take place? Every year, or
Sorry?
on an annual basis, or like every half a year? How often?
Yes, it's about once a year, or maybe twice a year. It depends the implementation, because when the first one was implemented, then we did the bid for the second, and so far. So
okay,
now
so
the third one is finishing, and now we have already the next area to do the next bid.
So it's not like on the regular basis. It's like as long or as soon as you have an offer, yes. So you just launch it.
Yes, and as long as we have the interest of the people, the community, because a lot of people come to us and say, we want to participate for the next bid. When will be? So we have all these people to say them, okay, now it's open, you can enter.
Okay, but also, if I may ask, how does the public know about all these measures? So do you post this information on the
Yes.
governmental website?
Yes, we have the website about these two programs here. So I can send here in the chat later.
Yeah, that would be nice to see. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. Very concrete questions, Axinia. Nice. Anyone else? Don't be shy. Sonia, I know, I call names. I saw Sonia was posting before that they also have in Belo Horizonte something similar to what Rovana was saying. I was curious to see if you want to say something about that, or if you found differences, how is it going?
There are a lot of differences, but it will take too much time to tell here. I just want to make it clear that Belo Horizonte is the best city in Brazil, not Porto Alegre.
Ay, ay, ay.
I am not sure. I'm kidding. Both cities are good.
Rovana and I met last year in a few meetings, so we are in this contest for some time now. I am. I think she's not.
Nice. But do you want to share specific challenges or I mean, I know you can't have a presentation now full on, but just snapshot of something you found really hard or really successful that you can say, oh, nice, this was really.
We give the certificates to any entrepreneur that's put some sustainability measures in their lot. But we don't pay them for it. We pay only the how is the name? Rovana, como se diz auditoria? We hired a team to go to the lot and see if it is all there. Okay?
Yeah.
We pay that, but we don't pay for them to put the measures. So our entrepreneurs and so on are not interested. We only certificated one building in 2 years and something. They want the municipality to pay something to forgive debts and.
I see.
Sonia, we know we first analyzed this program of Belo Horizonte, and we realized you had a lot of problems. That's why we changed a little bit to the incentives, so people would apply, and it was a success. As you can see, in 2 years, 163 certification, but we are waiting a lot more after the law, because the law will give this property tax incentives discount, and there are a lot of buildings that are just waiting for the law to enter with the certification, so we are expecting a lot more.
So maybe Belo Horizonte is not the best.
Oi. On this point, you can learn back. Rovana, learn from you guys, and then now it's time to. It's interesting. I find it really interesting to build on also. We love the fail forward idea, no? If something didn't work, that you can try to improve, and when it's improved, you can get it back,
Yeah.
Sonia. I see Anibal. Anibal asked, how would you recommend that this project can be created in areas that are cultural heritage? They have a very strict regulations? I think this is more for Enza.
Well, we have here our master plan that with a lot of rules, but like I am an architect and the architects are very creative. We are always trying to find some gaps in the law. And that's what happened with these projects here. We should find some gaps and we did it.
Enza, what is your take on that?
Yeah, I think that I don't know, Anibal, where it comes from specifically. Sorry, I was trying to. I'm just curious about this question because it can be really understood in different ways. For example, I think for PEDs, for positive energy districts, is also depends of what is the focus point and the collaboration with the cities about what is the cultural heritage and what has to be improved about this. I know that, for example, in Italy, there is a lot of discussion about the cultural heritage. In one of the projects, we are working with Parma municipality, and of course is like the historical center is something of course a little bit untouchable on the issues of you know what you improve in old buildings and the cultural heritage in existing neighborhoods is always type of tricky because you have to maintain the characteristics and the both historical heritage of the building. But if there is a community committed to work with these changes, maybe there is a possibility because we have also a lot of technological improvement. When we talk about improving the energy, as also shown before from Rovana, it's not just about put PV everywhere or be a very big impact in cities, could be also have a kind of impact about how the buildings can improve themselves, how the neighborhood can improve themselves with different type of solutions. For example, I was looking at this Rovana ideas about the motion sensor lighting. You know, there is something that can be done not just in the building itself, but also in the public spaces, for example, linking different type of path that maybe will valorize some of the cultural heritages in cities as well. So maybe find it solutions that can bring together both the communities and what is the benefit of improving the urban context with energy. That will be an interesting aspect to consider, and maybe also to find a way to go with the regulations in municipalities about that.
And maybe it's easier in Brazil because you don't have an expressive cultural heritage areas and buildings here. Maybe that's why you can do all of this. And sometimes we need to change the law, and that's why the mayor need to be very engaged to this agenda, and our mayor actually is. So I think it's easier for us.
I think there is also an issue about the urban strategies itself. I mean, with the climate mission cities, I think is quite interesting to discuss about this type of urban transformations that could go into more strategical roadmap for the cities. I think to be not too stuck into really like the rule itself, but seeing that as a urban project. That I think could be interesting. Is also what Rovana was showing, I think.
Indeed, and also like you say, I mean, we maybe when thinking about this, we go ideally to the fully fledged renovation of the building from top to bottom. But indeed, you can do a lot also by just changing the lights, so to say. And this is well connected with another training. And for those who missed that, there is a recording. We did four sessions training on lighting, and we really saw how, like you say, it can be a tool when you connect energy efficiency and maybe valorization of a special building, or even an event or something that is increasing your cultural. I mean, it's showcasing more the cultural heritage, but also how it can improve the energy efficiency of the building itself by just checking how the light is used and if this is efficient or not. So indeed, yeah. Or water, like Rovana was saying, the water use, the waste use, and the connection with the mobility. Indeed, yeah. Any other questions? Thank you, Anibal. That was a interesting input.
Maybe I have a question
Christoph?
too.
Yeah.
We have well, quite some city representatives here, and apart from the speakers we heard, I would be interested how you, in your urban contexts, would perceive the kind of the social dimension in energy transition projects in your city. How do you deal with that? Is that do you see that more as an obstacle? Okay, we need to kind of have quick solutions for transformation, and talking to residents always kind of extends the process and makes it more difficult and complex. Or do you integrate these kind of things from the beginning of your strategies or projects? How do you see the let's go, well, the relevance, the significance of this kind of this social dimension in your projects?
I don't know how to explain. For example, you are talking about energy efficient, right? That was social, everything.
Can also be projects for energy efficiency project, but can also be energy generation projects if we talk about solar panels or
yes, there are measure there in the certification program that is the renewable energy in the building, but it's all just for the generation on site. But now we are reviewing this program to allow people to buy the energy on the market, for example. So we are always renewing it because the technologies are appearing, and so we have to be okay, let me see. So you need to be open to the new technologies. That's why we are always renewing this program. But for example, the public buildings here in Porto Alegre, are already supplied with renewable energy, but it's through purchases on the energy market. So it's another step you were able to do. So we are trying this program. It's all concerned about the buildings. So that's why a lot of buildings, they try to receive the diamond certification, because they are just on project, so they could adapt everything on project. But the existing buildings, it's more expensive. That's why we're gonna give this a tax property discount. But I don't know if I answered, Christoph, sorry.
No, it also wasn't only to you, it was more also to the other participants.
Okay.
But thank you. In your activities in your city, how you tackle these kind of social questions related to urban transformation processes, or energy in particular.
Yes, I was wondering if this certification process, Rovana, has really helped to have the transition happening in these places. Also, like social interest, like, you know, to catalyzing really like what is the benefits of using the certification programs to really make a difference, catalyzing the interest and making these processes really moving along, because many times with in the PEDs projects, maybe we discussed the fact that maybe it's not itself the incentives that are really like missing, but it's more like how to facilitate, for example, the production exchange of energy in a more free ways. So how actually you see this benefit of the certified program in making really the difference?
Enza, we need to do all this monitoring of this project. I think it's the most important, because here in Brazil we have a lack of monitoring all our initiatives, and this is completely online. You have all the data, and so you can every time you can understand what buildings are doing, what they can do, what they can't do. And that's why it's so important, all this data that we have. I think here in our secretariat, it's the first project that we have a lot of data. I think it's the most important part of this program, because now we are going to review all these measures, and we understood that a lot of them, it's so expensive that people can afford or can put in the project. So now we are always we are always talking with a lot of institute here in Porto Alegre of architects, engineers, and the constructors to understand what's possible, what's not possible. So I think that's the point. We need to be always very open to the new technologies and to review every time and understand what people are saying, what it's able to do or not.
I guess it's really hard to track also social engagement until you see the place full of people crowding. Any other question? Hi, Sonia. I saw that she had to go. Hi, Sonia. Thank you. Any other questions? I see the colleague Jason from Miami. It's really early there, but who knows? Maybe Jason, you have some.
Good morning,
input,
everyone. Yeah, super early. Just listening in. Thank you, though.
Yeah.
Information. Thank you.
I saw Aldea Fernand. Maybe I know I name names that have maybe something to. Some colleagues are new faces to me, so I don't dare to call names. I don't know if anyone has other questions. There's another 10 minutes to go.
Or experiences to share.
Yes, of course. I would be also interesting. It would be also interesting to see how you communicate with people to engage them whenever you have an incentive, like Axinia was asking before to Rovana. How do you engage people? Because you can have the best idea in the world, but then if it's staying in your let's say bucket, nobody takes the opportunity to do that or engage or even if you have ways to get to, let's say, track the impacts of your activities. That would be very interesting. I think it's a space where it's really hard to get the engagement of people that are not already the usual suspects that are always engaging in these things. And same, is really hard to track impact on what happens if you do a change like Porto Alegre was doing, and then how do you track that this was a successful experience. Thank you, Viola. I see that you need to leave. Thank you very much. I see that it was a hard question. Maxine, do you have experience in Jitomir about that? I know that you do a lot of things. I was wondering about community engagement and how do you track how people engage with you?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we do quite a good job. At least we used to do it pretty much. Nowadays, not that much, but still, we always try to engage the public as much as we can. So we usually, but that was why also my question, how people get to know about all these initiatives. Yeah, because, okay, so we also post information on the website, but not really. I would not expect everyone just to go on the website and have a look. Okay, what kind of suggestions do you have? And therefore, I was just wondering whether there are other ways of informing the public and like of working with the public, because of course we, for example, organize different kind of celebrations like energy days or like informative days, and of course we engage children at schools very much, organizing some kind of competitions, absolutely different ones. Also, we provide, for example, some trainings to the people who can really benefit from that and who could really afterwards make an impact. Yes, or kind of influence others. Yes, so but again, these are more targeted groups. So these are not really the whole people, just usual residents. So and that would be just really interesting to know how other people get interested in that. Yes, of course, if you are a small business and if you are looking for an opportunity, yes, you would go anywhere, like to the websites of the government and so on. But if you're just an interested person, yeah, I'm not sure like everybody is really reached by that. But still, yeah, so that's why it was interesting for me to hear about that. So, but mainly this is on the website as far as I understood.
There is, I just want to flag that there is a lot of good experiences. There's also tools out there to help reach out to the population in a different setting as the usual green bubble kind of communication. And if you go to the UTMC, you will see the framework, which is this city journey that you see in the main page. And if you explore there, we put also some, the framework is made of questions. You will see that there is also questions about how to engage, how to communicate with people. And out there, if you go there, there is a lot of resources on visuals that you can use, experiences that you can use. So go dig there, because
I will definitely. I will have
curious to see what you guys are doing, but there is also something that we suggested. So we are curious to see also if you find what we spot useful. So go dig there. Like climate outreach, for example, is the first that comes to mind. That is a really nice initiative, I think, based in UK, that has kind of reframed the visual identity of the climate communication, so that is not the usual bear stranded alone in the ice bear pole, but also something more connected with people, with social impact of the climate change, and how socially impactful is a solution of climate transition. So this, I think, is a good piece of
yeah, it is very important also.
Yeah, exactly. And I see that you have raised the hand.
Yeah, I think there is also a lot of experience in the PED projects about really create the here I see Christopher put in the chat, these energy ambassadors, but the ambassadors of the transformation, for example, engaging existing communities, as you have seen in my slide, for example, working with schools, that maybe doesn't mean to make, the children know everything about what is a PED, what is the benefit of it. But maybe a little bit taking the schools as a community, because behind the children there are also the families, and therefore to bring this maybe ideas of more sustainable transformation in specific context in which there is an anchoring to the bigger transformation you can have. So try maybe to raise up the idea of the community that maybe is there. We have done also something about the gardening. So there is already a community that is active or sensitive to a specific aspects. And maybe here you need to have like some personal link with the leader of these communities, but maybe are also some of these a little bit more ecological people are also a little bit like taking the ball seriously, and try to bring it to the community. And I have a friend that is doing trying to use energy as change in the neighborhoods that is very difficult place in which there is also a lot of criminality, but it's also to try to walk there and to know the community where you can try to, so a bit of from the researcher side, I would say maybe try to permeate a little bit more into the social context that you would like at least to transform, and thinking about what is the benefit of them in jumping in these processes. I think is a very good idea.
I like to take the different angles to engage people. Sometimes let's say the most obvious green energy angle is not the right one. You can start from their interest, whatever that is. And then I remember when I was working in the province of Genoa, we were engaging cities in the province by also going to the food festival of the whatever, like pumpkin food festival, and then bringing what the city was doing there. And it was interesting, an interesting space to engage them.
Here in Porto Alegre, the newspaper and the radio are very interested in our initiatives. That's why you have a good space in these channels. So people usually know, okay, by our website, but also with the newspapers, and we do a lot of interviews in the radio, a lot of the radios here, and TV is everything. So that's why a lot of people here in Porto Alegre, they know about our initiatives.
Good point. Yeah, that's a good idea. The normal media, so to say, sometimes they are not so good exploited. Okay, last call for questions. We are at time, so burning questions, now or never, or now or via email.
Or next
That's not
time.
never.
In the next
Exactly. I was too strict. I wanted to make a bit of suspense.
Yeah, pressure.
No pressure.
I will
No
need to leave because I have a follow-up meeting, but thank you
Oh.
very much for the
Thank you,
discussion, for the
Christopher.
presentations. It was really great. Thank you. And
So-
hope to see you next time.
Yeah, so I see no burning questions. So I thank Christoph, who's going away now, and I thank also the speaker, Rovana, Insa, thank Axinia with your questions, and everybody who else who intervened. And we see each other next time is in 2 weeks with the next session on circularity and materials. And then we have another last but not least session on the 13th of March on financing. And then good news is that we will take just one couple of weeks pause, and then there is another 2-3 sessions on affordable housing that we do with the with the IADB. So you will, let's say, go on with the building flow on affordable housing there. So you already should have received the first information via email from me. If I'm not wrong, on the 4th of April, so just a couple of weeks after. And then we will share the program and the agenda as usual in advance, so you can register. And that's it. Thank you very much. And then we see each other next time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye
Have
bye.
a nice day and evening.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you.